play that, and you can. It's fantastic.
I bet it is. I must admit, I'm not a musician or singer, and I know where my strengths are, so I don't do any singing or playing music. And but I love all that. I mean, I appreciate a good song, and the Queen. I mean, some of those songs that Queen did were amazing, weren't they?
Oh, just the soundtrack of our lives, like all of this classic music. I mean, we're so lucky to have that period in the 20th century where the likes of Queen and the Beatles and the Moody Blues, of course, and the Who, the Stones. I mean, there was some remarkable music, and it was all fresh and new as well. And I'm not saying the music of today isn't fresh and new, but it's sort of derivative of what happened in the 60s. 1968, which was the year that Days of Future Past was released, was obviously the Moody's biggest album, and that was a year that is recognised as being a sort of a Renaissance year, where a Renaissance period where all this new stuff came out, and we're so lucky to have had from then till now all this time to enjoy it.
I know, it's fabulous, isn't it? I mean, you said for the last 25 years you've travelled the world. Is there anywhere you've not played you'd like to have played?
Well, that's a good question.
I know. Like to keep you on your toes.
I don't know if I've ever been asked that before, but yes, I haven't played the Sydney Opera House. I've played everywhere else in Australia, but not the Sydney Opera House, so that would have been nice.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
I'm trying to think. It sounds name-dropping, but I've played the O2 and Wembley and Hollywood Bowl and the Budokan in Japan, in Tokyo. I played Glastonbury.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of where I haven't played Carnegie Hall. I would like to play Carnegie Hall. That would be great.
It'd be fun, wouldn't it?
But I can't complain.
No, I'm not asking you to complain. I think.
No, I'm thinking about it, and it sounds a bit silly because it.
No, I mean, I thought that, a lot of people. Have you ever played in China? Because I think that's now an open market now, and I think a lot of bands are going out to China to play.
Do you know what? I've not played in China, and I would love to.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing. I think a lot of musicians would like that because you've got a huge population as well. I mean, millions and millions of people come to see you and listen to your music. It's mind blowing, isn't it? Really. So
it would be. I mean, China might be a difficult market to crack because over here you've got everybody's grown up with the Moody Blues, but to be introduced, I'm just trying to think of the other way around. When I listen to Chinese music, I can appreciate it, but I don't get it to the same degree that I get Western music. And I wonder how the Chinese would take classic rock music, whether they would hear it as alien as we hear fresh music to our ears. I don't know. That's another good question. But China would be great.
Be a great market to crack. I think if you crack China, I think you're going to be you'll be doing good business, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that'd be great. Now, maybe some of the casinos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If
you can get us a booking there, Terry.
I'll see what I can do. My wife's off out there in a few weeks' time, so I'll have a chat with her, see if she can get you some gigs out there.
Woke up and the toilet was overflowing. Must call the plumber. Realised the kids needed swimming lessons as it's all got out of control. Luckily the old windows gave out, so we all floated outside. Must get on to the glazers. And now the garden looks atrocious. Now what was the number for that landscaper?
Because you never know when a potential customer needs you, get yourself listed in your local flyer, the local business directory. Your local flyer, bringing businesses to your fingertips.
Nights in white satin, never reaching the end. Letters I've written, never meaning to send. Beauty I've always missed, these eyes before. Just what the truth is, I can't take anymore, 'cause I love you. Yes, I love you. Oh, how I love you. How I love you.
You're listening to the Sticks Radio Show here on Seclo Sounds, and that was a very special track recorded by Gordy and Mick Wilson, and that's the acoustic version of A Nights in White Satin, recorded especially for the Sticks Radio Show a little while ago. And thank you very much to Gordy and Mick for taking their time to do that. And let's return to our conversation with Gordy Marshall. I'm going to ask you that about being a musician. What would you say is the best thing about being a musician, and what would you say is the worst thing about being a musician?
The best thing about being a musician is doing the thing you love. I think that has to be, to get paid for doing something that you love doing has to be probably the best thing that you can do. The worst thing about being a musician is not being paid when you need to be paid. So if you're sitting at home and the phone doesn't ring and you haven't got any work, that can be difficult. And I know many musicians that have faced that dilemma over the years. But, you know, you just got to keep ploughing through and hang on to your dream. It's one of the reasons I put Legend of a Band together, because I wanted to sort of be a little more in control of my diary rather than just sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring. So as a consequence, we've got in with GRT Promotions. Pete Tobit from GRT Promotions is booking us a bunch of dates. I don't know if you've got it on your list there, but we're playing.
It's the Stables. You're playing the
Stables. We are.
That's right. It's on. I have got it down. I was going to give it a plug at the end.
Okay, that's great.
It's Friday, the 1st of July. You're there. I'm hoping to get along myself. So we know you've been there a couple of times at least before, and you know what a good venue it is.
Great.
So yeah, I mean, if you if a young child or a young teenager came up to you and said, Gordy, I'm looking to get into the music business, what advice would you offer them?
Oh, it's a difficult one, that, because the industry that faces a child now, faces a kid today, so into a 12-year-old or 14-year-old drummer wants to get into it, what he's going to be presented with over the next 25 years is completely different to what I've experienced over the past 25 years. So in pragmatic terms, the only thing I could say would be to start practicing now, practice as much as you possibly can, develop a passion for your instrument and your music, and get as good as you can possibly be, and then look for opportunities. And as long as I think you're tenacious and you stick at it and you don't give up, and you make yourself as good on your instrument as you can be, that's the best chance you have of success. I don't think, it's not like medicine or law where you can say, okay, go to this university, go get 3 A's at A level, go to this university and then go and study this 7 years and then you can apply for a job. It's not like that at all. Every musician have their own sort of bespoke way into the industry. And each successful musician I know has had a different route that you can't really replicate. I mean, yes, you can go to music college and do all that, but once you've left music college, that's when the work starts. Yeah. And I think really the constant practicing and staying on top of your game is the most important thing.
Yep. Okay, you've travelled the world, you've worked with the Moody Blues, you've worked with loads of people. Is there anybody you wish you'd work with or would still like to work with?
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder. Of course,
I
mean, he's a little while ago, he just celebrated his 66th birthday. It's unbelievable. The guy is such a talent.
Songs in the Key of Life.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think he was 11 years of age when he signed to Motown. So what's that, 55 plus years he's been in the music business.
Yep.
And he's not giving up.
Long time ago.
Yeah, it's even longer than 25 years, that is. So, and I was going to ask you, and this is probably the same question, who are your musical heroes? Who do you admire?
Well, I like, in terms of writers, the Eagles, I love the music of the Eagles. Prince was a huge influence. I love watching and listening to Prince. The grooves that he created and the production on his records was fantastic. And his songwriting's great. I mean, there's just a plethora of people around. Again, Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind and Fire. And then, of course, I love classical music as well because I had many years of classical lessons, piano lessons when I was younger. So I love Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff, and I love Bach and Beethoven. So it's quite a spectrum, really. When I put shuffle on my iPod, all sorts of things come up.
Yeah,
my kids are into Beyonce and all the recent stuff, so I'm exposed to that whenever I'm in the car with them. Yeah, that's great as well.
Some of that is very good. Some of it is not so good, but we're not going. I'm not going to ask you to do that. Oh, I mean, you were saying you love to be drumming in here every day. When you're not working, what do you like to do as a hobby? Is there anything you enjoy doing?
Do you know something? I pretty much work all the time. That's a bit sad, that, isn't it? Because
it is really, isn't it?
Well, I write. I tell you what I do. I love reading, and I'm reading all the time. I've always got a book on the go.
Okay.
And I am writing my second book. After I'd written my first book, Postcards from a Rock and Roll Tour, I took a break from writing, but I started to keep notes.
Mm-hmm.
And extensive notes from all the tours from 2010 until I left. And within those notes, I started writing down all the other memories from the earlier years I was with the Moody's. And that's sort of evolving into a bit of a weightier book than the first one. So I do that. I enjoy doing that, but I suppose that's work.
Well, I suppose
it's going to be a book. I'm going to sell it.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this. I mean, I've read the Postcards from the Rock and Roll Tour. It is a really interesting book. You tell everybody about it rather than me tell everybody about it.
Well, Postcards from a Rock and Roll Tour is a book what I wrote about a particular tour in 2010 I did with the Moody Blues. And it effectively plots the day-to-day events of being on the road in a famous rock band. So it's self-deprecating in a way, I hope. It's not a tell-all, sort of here's all the naughty bits book. It's just about what it's like to be there. So, and it seems to have been accepted quite well, which I'm very pleased about. I've got lots of great reviews, which I'm also very pleased about. Thank God. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I read it, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting an expose, but I think everybody gets this impression that famous rock stars or actors and that live in this little bubble. Some of them probably do, the likes of perhaps Prince, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley do, but most of you are normal, should we say normal people, and lead a normal life as well.
Yeah, I mean, all the Moody's are like that. I mean, one of the reasons it's not a sex, drugs and rock and roll book is because that's not what the Moody's are about. Everyone's married, and we do have a lot of fun on the road. We drink, perhaps drink a lot of wine every now and again on a night off.
Well, so do we all.
But for the most part, it's pretty much, I mean, I think what the book does is lets the reader into the secret that being on the road is not some sort of holiday. It's actually you're there to do a job, and it's hard. It's a revenue-generating industry. It's a revenue-generating tour, and you've got to be on top of your game. And all this titillation stuff of other books that I've read about all the madness that goes on. I mean, I honestly don't know if it's true, or if it is true, B, how they do it. Because if you've got to get up at 10 o'clock in the morning and be on a plane or be on a bus and travel 600 miles, then do a gig, then you've got to get back on the bus and travel another 300 miles and get into a hotel at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then be back up at 10 o'clock the next morning. There's just no room for all of that sort of stuff.
No, I don't know how they do it. I really don't, because I couldn't do it. I'm thinking, I'm thinking of the guys like the Rolling Stones. I mean, they're in their 70s now. I mean, if they'd have done all that stuff, I really wonder how they would still be alive.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not in the Stones, obviously, and I think it would have probably killed me.
Yeah, it's not good. I wouldn't be able to do that. Anyhow, I'm going to ask you a couple of last questions, some sort of silly ones, I suppose. You're in charge of England for the day, or in charge of the United Kingdom for the day. What's the first thing you'd change or do?
What a question.
I know, it's Monday morning. I love a nice Monday morning question.
You know what, then? If I was in charge of England for the day, and it was just for a day, I'd give everybody the day off.
Oh, cheers, thank you. Thanks
everybody
for that.
Take a day off and have some fun. Listen to some music, take your dog for a walk. Because it's a gorgeous day, sit in the sunshine. That's a
good one. And you're having a dinner party tonight, Gordy, and you can invite 4 guests, people living or dead. Who would you actually invite, and why?
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Mark Twain.